All right, hi everyone. So I'm trying to get this thing working today. For some reason, well, not everything's working as planned. So I've been trying to do some kind of little live during the week, or since the weekend, since this is Sunday, and it's going to be fabrication. If you guys got certain things you guys want to see, submit. Give me some feedback if you want to see certain kind of welding or fabrication. You just wanted this Q&A back and forth, that's fine too. But just in order to try to anybody who watches the channel, if you're trying to do some fabrication work, or you've heard me on the Jeep Talk Show, you've got some questions how to do some fabrication. This is kind of a one-on-one to answer some of those questions and see what all what all you guys have as far as questions and everything. So I guess I'm going to start off with I had this pretty cool thing set up with multicam. I was going to show some welding, flip back and forth. I've tried that and had it all working until you went to say, record. Then it flipped me the middle finger. All right. So let's start off with some of the basics. So last live we did TIG. So today we're going to go into some MIG. I want to go into a little bit, if you've never had a helmet or if you have a helmet, some of the things you should do on that. And if we get any questions, then we'll change it as needed. So a lot of people out there want to do MIG welding, but really don't know how to break one of these down or what everything does. So first things first, basic MIG gun. You have your trigger. I still got the gas on, so let me turn the gas off here. Just wasting gas. So you got your shield here. Now, if you're running flux core, you necessarily don't need the shielding cup. And if this is tight, your basic pliers, which are very handy, one of the tools on there is a jaw to be able to take off that shield. Sorry if I'm sniffling. It's kind of cold in the garage. If I run the heater, it makes a lot of background noise. So this will just go on the end of your MIG gun. And then this diameter right here is actually made to unlock the tip. And then depending on what size wire you run, you want to size the tip accordingly, because that's what's making your contact when you're actually welding. So without it, it's just going to feed wire, and it's really unguided, undirected, and it won't energize either. Unless it touches the end, it'll arc and mess up the trigger assembly as well. So basically, get that to focus. There's a threaded end on one end, and you'll just feed that through the wire, and that'll screw in, and then you'll just snug that up. Now these pliers also have a couple other features. You get a pair of these. You get these in Lowe's. You get them. I'll leave some links for this stuff. But you can get these about anywhere. There are also a cutter, so you're always cutting fresh wire. Now the tip looks kind of weird, but what that's made for is to clean out any slag when you're welding. Where's it at? Let's see here. Oh. Now, I always suggest using some anti-spatter spray. And we get this through our partners at Rockmount. And you're always going to get some kind of spatter on your gun. But if you get a little spray every now and then, And I always like to spray the inside of the nozzle as well. It helps cut down on the slag and everything that's in there. Now, ideally, you're going to adjust your feeds and speeds. And I'll leave a link here to a video I did on how to calculate what your ideal wire feed and voltage would be. Because remember, on MIG, you're not setting amperage, you're setting voltage. And on a MIG, your penetration is actually a function of the voltage, because without the voltage, you can't have the penetration, no matter how fast you pound that wire in there. And what will happen is you'll get to a point to where you'll pull the trigger and it'll touch, it'll hit, it'll burn back, hit, burn back, which means you don't have enough voltage. Or you go the other way, that it's actually melting long before it ever gets there, which is too much voltage. So then how do you set your wire stick out? Well, on your pliers, there's a recess here. And if you just butt that up against the nozzle, you'll get about a 3/8 stick out. Now, if you're running hard wire with gas, just, non-flux core, it should be just about the right length. I need to move my camera because camera's here and the video's over there, so you're back and forth. Anyway, so a couple things. So basic MIG gun. So if you're running flux, you won't have this. You can have the just the nozzle, or you can leave the nozzle tip on, and they also make a rubber shield that goes on, so you're getting all that spatter and everything on it. And the better you adjust, the less spatter you have. Now, one of the things that everybody uses is a helmet. And a lot of people complain, I can't see what I'm welding. Well, a lot of times it's because your helmet is filthy. Now this one, it's starting to get kind of marked up, but these have 2 lenses to them. So on this model, and they're all going to be just a little different, you can take out this center section. So if I unlock it, and then I can just lift this right out of the hood, and then that leaves this protective shield in here. And really these just flex and they come out. And these are disposable, so you don't destroy everything. Forgot to grab my spray. So every now and then, you're going to need to replace these. And on most of them, on the inside, there's a cover shield in here as well. And this one, 2 little ears, and this whole tray slides out. Then you can get under the little protective shield. And you can pull that out, because ideally you don't want this section of it all spattered up. That's what all the protection is for. So you'll just periodically just clean everything. Because you'd be amazed, especially if you're running flux core, there's a lot of smoke. And all of these components get really dirty. So I think that'll be our next video here in the shop. We're going to get a little more in depth on welding and what some of the things look like. Now, if you have a hood with a electric lens in it like this, auto darkening, they're liable to have batteries in them. And then periodically, you'll want to replace these. Some of them will give you a warning, some of them will not, until you hit that trigger and, well, you go blind. Now, they'll also have shades, right? So here it'll say I got mine set on a number 10 shade. And if I'm really running high amperage or high voltage, I'll turn it up to a 12. Sensitivity, I want this to, I don't want it to, I don't want a big delay between the arc and by the time it changes. So I got that in the upper 3/4, and I got the delay on minimum. I really don't want much delay. I want it to hit almost instantly. And then, if it's summertime, these pads, these can be replaced, because if it's summertime, well, we all sweat. Now, even when I wear a cap, when I weld, these are still going to get gross. And then you can just hose this thing down because it's just no more than the shell. Now, those protective pads, when you drop them on the floor, they might get scratched. And of course, they're clear, so they're hard to see. So I actually buy some 30-second just clear polycarbonate sheets, and I just cut these out myself for this back piece because they're not as easy to find. And these will just slide in here. No big magic there. And then this will go back into this housing. And I would just, whatever hood you get, really do a good job of keeping it clean, because a lot of times what happens is people tell me, well, they can't see what's going on. They can't read the puddle. And a lot of times it's because, well, they can't physically see. And sometimes this can be a little booger getting back in. There we go. So that just snaps back in there. Sorry if you're running those again. Now, when you get these, they always have some kind of protective cover on them, like a static cling, because, well, they do scratch so easy. Now, you don't got to spend much on a helmet, but you want to buy a decent helmet because, well, it is your eyes, and these will just snap into this. Just bow it a little bit, and she'll just snap right in there. And this will just slide back in. And then once you get in position, on this one, you want this end, you just hit the lock. And every now and then, this thing will want to put a little fight up. So then that's locked back in. Nice and clean. And you'd be amazed how fast, especially if you're running flux core. Well, now that this is out, you can see how dirty that is. So a little bit of maintenance there. And these are all disposables. And then as far as your gloves and everything else, I always wear a cap, and it's just and it's not a fashion statement, but it just, as I get older, I appreciate any hair that I have. And then I really like these weld pouring gloves. So I've got a couple different styles of gloves. So the MIG gloves, you can actually MIG and you can stick with them. And then if you're running a lot of really hot stuff, meaning if you're going to weld up an axle housing, let's say, and you're really going to be in it for a little ways, well, what will happen is every now and then you'll actually melt the back of your glove. Case in point. They make these little shields, and if you go to a weld supply, a lot of times they'll just give these things away. And really all it is this will just go over the glove, and your fingers will just stick through it just to hold it. And it's up to you, how much you want. But so that as you weld, as I weld, it's going to be right here. And this is taking all the beating. They're a couple bucks. Your gloves don't take the beating. And if you also have to, if you have to slide along an axle or something, because if you're trying to freehand, it's going to be a crappy weld. So you could actually set this up against the axle and then run that way as well. Still going to get hot. Just not going to be as hot. And it'll help glide a little bit too. So as you're going, you can glide and not tearing up your gloves. Like I said, if you guys want to see anything special, leave me some comments. We can bend plate, we can bend tubing, general fabrication work. We do some stainless welding. I started doing some titanium welding, but it's titanium is interesting. I've only welded a little bit. I want to get more into it. And then our partners at Rockmount, they always set us up with some pretty cool repair stuff where we can repair cast, aluminum, cast steel. That's always, I really enjoy that. And I want to get into hard facing, but that's a whole other rabbit hole. So, basics of the MIG gun and your basic safety stuff. So this is stuff that you're going to need. Now I'm going to try to come on every Sunday and just talk. And if I strike an arc, you're not going to be able to see it, and I'm not going to be able to explain because I can't flip multi-camera. If I could really show you, how once we strike the arc, how we're making little loops. Sometimes we make like a little triangle as we weld. Sometimes little loops. It's kind of hard to show that when it's just a bright light. But like I said, if you guys want to see anything special, let me know. I did get something cool in from our friends at Stronghand. Let me show you this thing. Over here. So it's a pretty cool little vise. Let me turn this camera down here a little bit. So this is a pretty cool little vise. If you have to weld, pieces of different angles, it's got these little quick, like a speed screw button here. Now you can clamp this down to a table if you want to through bolts. But what I thought was pretty slick, once you get these where you want them with these screws, I don't drop this in the camera. With these screws, you can lock these angles in so that if you have a lot of something to weld, you could get these all set up. So if you have something you're going to weld a lot of, at a certain angle, whatever you have, you could set this up, clamp this thing and put your pieces in here. You clamp everything down and then weld her up, and then it's all set for the next thing as well. So really looking forward to trying this out. I think this is going to be a pretty cool little device. Could have definitely used this on some of the like the swing outs we built. This would have been a handy little tool for that. But really, any angle you want, it's really kind of up to you. So I'm really looking forward to trying that. And Stronghand's really, they've kind of taken care of us a little bit. They've really give us a few little, like the little third hands that stick down and they hold things in place. And then, like I said, our friends over at Rockmount, the anti-spatter spray, the the Polaris and the Neptune wires, and the dual shield wire, which is actually a flux core wire that you run gas on. I'll definitely have to get that out and show you guys that. So next Sunday, I'm trying to do this around 6:30 every Sunday. Log in and let me know what you want to see, and we'll go from there. So I guess I'm going to call this one. It's it's What is it? It's football Sunday, so I know what everybody's doing. They're out watching football, so I get it. All right, so next Sunday probably end up being next Sunday, but before all you guys join, it'll probably be after football season. Leave me some comments of what you want to see. If there's a better time, let me know that. Talk to you later.